playing Kids on Bikes today. We are bringing back our kids that we haven't seen in 2 years. Weathles is our DM. And yeah, does everyone want to introduce themselves while I focus on dice?
Hi, I'm Weathles. I'm a mod in Gloria's Discord and her stream, and those are the only places that you can find me if you want to talk to me.
Don't look for her, ever!
Don't look for me!
We love boundaries.
Yeah.
Speaking of boundaries, Andrew. Well, you said it, that was my segue. That was my segue.
Yeah, I'm Andrew. Also a mod. And yeah, I'm playing Vincenzo, the stoic scout character that we know and love and hate.
I think we all just love him.
I don't think anybody hates him.
I kind of hate him, but also I love him.
Oh. As long as,
in control of
as long
everything
as
he does.
somebody loves him, it's gonna be one of us. Platonically. Rachel?
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm also a mod in Gloria's Discord and here on Twitch. Don't act up or I will bonk you, theoretically. I'm playing Rambo. Rambo's my character. She's like a silly sidekick character.
Yeah. I'm Gloria. I'm playing Frances, who is awkward and a wallflower, and she's really bad at flirting, and it's my favorite thing.
The Lunar Lake Lowdown. The October festival returns. It's been 2 years, real time and game time, since we've visited Lunar Lake. Lunar Lake's October Festival is returned. Vendors, games, and food can be enjoyed by all at the park. Visitors will be bussed in from Shadowbrook and may not park on residential streets. As a safety measure, residents may notice an increased police presence during the festival. Some other items of note, a celestial phenomenon visits Lunar Lake. Torrid's meteor shower will be visible this Halloween over Lunar Lake. Stars may even be visible during the day. Mr. Birch will have telescopes available for all to use between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. this week. And there's a new job available. Lunar Lake Cemetery seeks a junior caretaker for the grounds. Mr. Larry Peckish will be conducting interviews all week. Resumes may be submitted to the library help desk. Okay.
And chat is back.
2 years. Chat is back. Okay, great. Trying to get the documents all in one place. So 2 years later, all traces of Terra Industries were wiped out of Lunar Lake. The FBI have stationed themselves in Lunar Lake alongside Sheriff Seawall and the Lunar Lake Police. Officially, the events at Terra Industries have been labeled a structural failure, and the deaths of the Donovans, Thornwalls, and the disappearance of Redmayne are remarked as a result of an experiment gone wrong. Redmayne has been declared a missing person of interest, along with Bernice Baker, and any information can be brought to Detective Penhurst or Agent Sod at Lunar Lake Police. Nearly overnight, the Terra Industries building was erased from Lunar Lake. The only trace, a large patch of dirt where the building and the former dump once stood. Many of the adults and residents of Lunar Lake have interviewed personally with the agents, and as time has passed, their memories of that fateful time have faded. The story is something Terra Industries, something OSHA. Any talk of ancient gods or powers is dismissed as fanciful tales of strong imaginations. I guess let's open with Vincenzo.
Ew.
And let me scroll down this massive document, which was once supposed to be just a one-shot, but is now like 6,000 to 7,000 words.
Weathles.
Sent is now a college student at Shadowbrook University. He spends his weekdays at the dorms in Shadowbrook and returns home to Lunar Lake on the weekends. Sent occasionally runs into former classmate Ruby Singh at SBU. Sent will have noticed that she appears a little bit more disheveled and less kempt than he remembers her. She often looks like she's staring off into space. You've made a couple of attempts to chat with her, but it's sort of like she doesn't even really notice you're there. Scent has a roommate named Lee. They're quiet, clean, and studious, so quite a personality match for Scent. They wear their hair in a tight bun atop their head, and they can be found dressed in colorful button-down shirts and neatly pressed slacks. Scent never stopped dreaming of Lunar Lake. It whispers to him in the night, and the sounds come together in a language he doesn't quite understand. Lee is familiar with Scent's restless dreams, and when Scent wakes up, he notices a water bottle fresh from the fridge, a washcloth, and an envelope left for him by Lee to make sure that you take care of yourself. And the envelope is addressed to you with just your name, but Lee is not in the room. And here you are.
I think, yeah, as we know, so Stoic, I think, has softened in the past couple of years, given all of the activity and learning to rely on his friends a little bit. But I think still, I wouldn't say uptight, but just very kind of hypervigilant type person, and very, reactionary. So waking up from like a cold sweat, seeing all this stuff next to his bed, kind of like has a little jump scare moment, not expecting the stuff to be there, processes for a minute, picks up the washcloth and kind of like wrings it in his hand a little bit, and just sort of like slaps it on his head. And then sees the envelope and just is filled with like a sudden sense of dread that he doesn't really understand. It's just kind of a visceral reaction to just seeing his name scrawled on this thing. And so he picks it up, and he very, very gingerly like turns it over in his hands for a couple of seconds, just kind of staring off into space, and looks around, sees that his roommate Lee is not there, and just decides to open it and get whatever it is over with.
So it's been 2 years since the incident, and you've continued to have strange dreams. Your classes in horticulture, you've become quite an expert, and that's because your latent powers are awake, and you're able to have some sense of control over them now, and so have a keen sense of what plants need, and have really become a go-to person in your cohort. But other than that, it's been pretty quiet. Nothing haunting, nothing scary, nothing stressful. You visit home on the weekends, and we'll visit your friends' lives when we get back to them. But when you turn the envelope over, it is sealed with wax, and the imprint in the wax, the emblem, is the outline of a deer with large antlers.
Already,
When you break the wax seal, in it is a small slip of paper with an address in Shadowbrook. That's it.
Oh, okay, I'm writing that down. Let's see. So we're talking like actual deer with antlers, not like Lashuda antler.
No, it doesn't look. It doesn't look monstrous. It sort of looks like a deer with antlers. But
okay,
remembering all of your past experiences, I mean, it certainly calls back to that time and the incident.
Yeah, I think his first reaction, he's just kind of looking at it with the blank facial expression that he typically has, but while being like a vortex on the inside. And so I think that he instinctively just looks at it like for a few seconds, sees what it is, and crumbles it up as if it will stop existing if he gets it out of his sight, and kind of shoves it in the drawer next to his bed,
Sure.
and like scrambles to just start with his day and distract himself.
Okay. So, the plan for the day was to return to Lunar Lake. Your classes have ended for the week, and you head home on a bus. Sorry, Momo started screaming again.
Good. That's like our
Everybody
spooky
say hi to
atmospheric
Momo.
sounds.
Hi,
Yeah.
Momo. Momo is Weathles' cat.
Yeah, she screamed.
Before he
okay,
leaves
so-
his apartment, can he like he kind of freezes at the door and like turns around and then runs back and gets the paper before he leaves?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And as you're leaving and you get on the bus, you get a text message from Lee, who's just sort of checking in on you, like, "Hey, are you okay? Last night seemed particularly rough."
So I'm guessing, given our time period, we're talking like really basic cell phone stuff. So not being able to see when people are typing and things like that.
Right. We're talking like, yeah, like the 9 keys type of deal.
Yeah. Nokia block phone.
Having to press
Yeah.
6 so many times to get to the
like
letter you want.
Nokia brick. Like, yeah.
Playing Snake.
Yeah.
I think he reads it, and he's really embarrassed because he's like fully awake now and realizing that Lee saw him in that state and has multiple times, and then like took it upon themselves to like do something nice for him. And I think he goes to write like a message back like 4 or 5 times and deletes it every time, and then finally just says, "Thanks, I'm okay," and that's it.
Lee will give you the okay ellipses, like okay ... as though like I'm trying to reach out to you as a friend. And then Lee will also let you know that a couple of times last weekend there was a knock at the door asking for you. Lee didn't recognize the voice and didn't open the door, and then the envelope last night. So Lee didn't really think anything of it. He figured it was a classmate last weekend, but with the envelope, thought it would be a good idea to tell you that somebody's been looking for you at the university.
Makes sense. Blood run cold, and he's just sort of sitting in the bus seat, like backs up slowly and just sits back and stares. It's like again, and he sends a message back, and instead of sort of he doesn't mince words. He just says, don't answer the door for anyone that you don't know. And just leaves it at that. Like, we know he is not the best communicator, but I think that he is filing this away to try to have a better conversation later. And so he maybe like 2 minutes later, he'll text again and just say, "Let's talk later."
You'll get another text and a final one. I gotta get going, but I maybe I'll see you in Lunar Lake. I'm going to the festival with my family. See you later. And then that's sort of the end of your communication, and we'll have Sent look wistfully out the window at the autumn foliage as you're traveling home. And then we'll Scooby-Doo over to Rambo. Rambo, in a whirlwind of occupational whiplash, is now the manager and cat specialist in training at Pick of the Litter Shelter, which had closed a couple of years ago. It has since been reopened and purchased by GT Incorporated, a private holding company from Shadowbrook. Communication has been pretty sparse and via letters and email. So Rambo hasn't really spoken with the folks at GT Incorporated in person or over the phone yet. But the building is renovated and it's stocked with state-of-the-art equipment and now managed by Rambo and Melvin. It has become a feline-only shelter, given Rambo's studies and expertise in all things cat. The president of GT Incorporated has taken an interest in Rambo and has been promoting her quickly. Amber, a previous employee at Pick of the Litter, now works directly with GT Incorporated and lives full-time in Shadowbrook. And she has informed Rambo that she will be coming to visit to talk to Rambo about further promotions. And then I would say, Rambo, you probably get the sense that there's something fishy about this. All of a sudden the shelter is open, you're asked to work there, within months you're promoted to management. You're sent any number of volunteers who sort of like come in and out. They don't stay too long, but you're always staffed with people who seem to know what they're doing. You and Melvin are closer than ever. Your amulet has been in a dormant state, and so while you're able to work very well with the cats that come into your shelter, you haven't heard much from the wolves that live in your amulet until about a week ago, in which you started dreaming of them again.
Wait, they live in it? Sorry.
Well, I guess kind of. Like
They inhabit the amulet.
Kind of, yeah. But you've been dreaming of them again, padding outside of your vision as you stare down the lake. You can't quite see them in your dreams, but you get the sense that they're there. What would you say Rambo is doing as she prepares for Amber's visit?
She's probably like trying to make sure the shelter looks as clean as possible. So like she's split the chores between her and Melvin is like scooping dust bunnies off the floor and patting them into like a dustpan, and she's like wiping things down hurriedly, and she's got like her hair's half tied up but half of it's like falling out of her little bun, and she just looks a mess, but she's doing her best.
Awesome. Melvin's just padding around, laying on top of your paperwork, probably intentionally launching things off of your desk, following you around just to sort of give you a hard time. And if you admonish him, he'll say, I gotta do what the cats do. I gotta blend in, right? Like, you don't want anybody to suspect that you have a talking cat, so I'm just gonna do what a cat does, right? And then he just swipes your water bottle right off of your desk.
Thanks, Melvin. How kind.
Anything for you, kid.
While making eye contact.
He would.
Okay. Francis.
Yeah.
Francis has taken a full-time position at Fleetwood Macchiato as Bobby's right hand. She's also moved into his apartment above the cafe. Francis's parents have enjoyed their time reconnecting with her, but also look forward to reconnecting with each other. As time passes, Francis notes the memories of the events have slowly left her parents, and they're reluctant to talk about it. Almost like it didn't really happen. Scarlett has begun library science school remotely, and hopes to become Lunar Lake Library's main librarian someday. Scarlett feels closer to Francis than ever, as they are often seen together in the evenings at Elspeth's shop or walking in the woods. Although Scarlett has been a little bit less of herself recently as she's preparing for her cousin Raven's visit to Lunar Lake. Raven you had contact with last episode, who sort of also specializes in occult stuff. Frances continues to get to know her abilities, and the machines at the cafe always seem to be working in tip-top shape. She's become sort of like a tech support for folks close to her. Bobby is planning something, and Frances is suspicious of his behavior. Frances has seen him more than once talking with the agents stationed at the police station, in like quiet whispers, and she's seen him go to the police station several times, and then when she's asked him about it, he's been kind of cagey. Scarlett is sitting in one of the booths tending to her homework, while Frances and Bobby are working at the cafe.
Okay. Frances is going on her lunch. And she's...
All right, I can't look at the chat.
I have not looked at the chat
Okay.
for the last 10 minutes.
I'm sorry, everybody. I love you, but I can't.
We're on the precipice. We're on the precipice of things going
Sorry, I have to participate.
You all can type as much as you
I gotta
want.
get out
I
of my
will
system
just not be
somewhere.
looking at chat. Weathles will not be looking at chat. And there are just reasons that we have a history of this. We just cannot do it.
Cannot be done. So yeah, Frances, you are at the cafe. I would say we're getting closer to the evening. So
Oh, okay.
Rambo, you'd probably be closing up and making your way to the cafe, and then of course Scent is also en route, and probably plan to meet there anyway.
Rambo on her
But
way
for now,
for hot cocoa.
what did you say?
I said Rambo's on her way for her 5 o'clock hot cocoa.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Give me a
Okay.
double.
So Frances for now has some time with Bobby.
Oh, Bobby, okay. Before she speaks to Bobby, she's gonna look at Scarlett, but hope that she catches Scarlett's eye, just to sort of give her a really awkward wink and be like, hey babe, you look great while you're studying.
Scarlett will look up, and she sort of doesn't know what to make of the compliment. She's like, thanks, the new eyeliner you got me is really nice. So
Yeah, it was top tier drugstore. They had it behind one of those glass cases, and I had to ask them for that. So
you're so thoughtful.
anything for you, and then she walks away.
She'll just start scrambling like back to her work, like.
Vincenzo sighs on a bus 20 minutes away.
All right, my camera's being weird.
That's okay.
Okay.
And you are still in frame, so you're fine.
Great. Excellent. Okay.
Rachel, we can hear echo through yours.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Okay, so she's gonna speak to Bobby and just ask if she can have a moment to speak with him.
Yeah. Hey, cuz, what's up? He's not making any eye contact with you.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I know we've spoken about this a lot, and maybe this isn't the right time to speak about it, but I just want to make sure that you're okay, and if you don't want to talk now, maybe we can talk later.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm fine. I mean, obviously I miss Mom, but
Yeah.
you know, your help's been, it's been really nice having you around. So yeah, no, I'm doing fine.
I miss her too. But why aren't you looking me in the eyes?
Oh,
And the camera said, no one's gonna look in your eyes now.
You never will.
Okay, so she's gonna say again, Bobby, why aren't you looking me in the eyes.
Oh, he'll turn to look at you. What do you mean? I'm looking at you right now.
I don't know. Things have been really weird and you've been really shifty, and I know that like you're not home when I feel like you should be. I see you hanging out in places where I wouldn't expect you to.
Hey, when I said I missed Mom, I didn't say I wanted a replacement. I'm okay. You don't have to worry about me.
Bam.
Okay.
Ooh.
Well, maybe we'll talk later. And she's gonna greet her. Well, I'm assuming her friends will probably arrive by now.
Yeah. Yeah, we can say everybody walks in, the bell rings, you find, I'll do another description of the cafe, since it's been a while. It is a cozy and dimly lit cafe. Its walls are lined with local creations from Lunar Lake's artists young and old. You see some photographs, recent photographs of the lake done by Mr. Larry Peckish. The lake has
Aw.
been cleaned up at great effort from the townsfolk, an initiative that was started by Scent's father, Mr. McMurphy, who is in the mayoral seat and has moved from the library to the police station at the top floor is where his office is located, and he's taken his role very seriously. And so many of the buildings and the surrounding areas of Lunar Lake have been renovated, although the funds from which he is able to do that, Scent has really no idea where they've come from. But in thanks to Mr. Peckish's services for the town, a new dock has been installed where the only boat tied to the dock is Mr. Peckish's tiny boat, which he takes to the center and fishes every morning. And so some photographs from his vantage point. They're not amazing, but they're hung up all over the wall.
Oh.
There's a blurry one of his shoes. Some small tables and private booths are available for seating. The cafe is lightly decorated in fall fanfare, so oranges, reds, and yellows, some pumpkins and leaves and things like that. And of course, there's seasonal fare, so get your pumpkin spice lattes and muffins and all that fun stuff. So yeah, you guys arrive. Scarlett is sitting in a booth independently, and you can sense an incredibly thick and awkward tension between Francis and Bobby as they are wiping down the same area of their respective counters on the opposite sides of each other, not really speaking, and the counter looks completely clean.
She's just looking over at him like,
So good.
we're gonna talk later.
Rambo walks up to like the front of the counter, like equidistant between the two of them, and is like looking back and forth at them. And you're like, guys, are we good?
We're cleaning. Hi, Rambo.
The counter's clean.
Frances
Bobby
just
will
throws
look-
down her towel and just goes, yeah, okay.
Bobby will say, "Hi, Rambo," like very quickly, and then start to walk towards the back, and then stop and say, "Oh, hey, Scent too, I guess." He'll linger on you a little while longer, and then walk towards the
Linger.
back.
And Rambo will be like, Bobby, my hot chocolate, please.
Francis can get that for you, and then he shuts the office door.
And Rambo turns to Francis and goes, Francis, my hot chocolate, please.
With a flick of her wrist, the machines start making Rambo her favorite hot chocolate, which tastes better because magic is making it, so.
Well, I think Ascent comes into and gets greeted. Well, he's like 10 feet behind everyone, just like standing near the door. The door's just closed with the little bell on it, and he just goes, "Hi," like SpongeBob, and watches the scene unfold. And it's kind of like feeling relieved to be back in this kind of like quote unquote dysfunction, like the familiarity of it. But it's still just kind of like it takes a minute to boot up the whatever level of like friendliness that he has. And so then he just approaches the counter and sits down at one of the like bar stools.
Francis has your favorite, like all of your favorite pastries and cookies and things, and has them ready for you on the counter. Because she knew you were coming. She just had not started on the drinks yet because she was busy being annoyed with Bobby. So whatever you want, it's on the house. And she makes sure Bobby hears that.
I think both of like Scent and Rambo's eyes like cut at the same time to the office in the back.
Meanwhile, Melvin has like nabbed a croissant off the plate or something and is sitting on Rambo's shoulders, just munching on a croissant.
Like crumbs all over.
Her shoulder is now littered with croissant crumbs.
I think Scent has like a. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you know how like when a cat gets like a hair ball stuck in its mouth, and it's just like constantly like licking its lips and like Melvin is just noisily masticating on your shoulder.
Yeah, it's like on his like chest fur and on this. Yeah, he's just going to town on it.
And Scent is just like chewing like a plain like shortbread cookie or something like really basic, and is just like chewing it like a little mouse and staring off into space, thinking about the day's events.
So Bobby's been acting weird.
And as you say that, you notice him walking out in the front of the shop through the window, and you see him get into a black car with tinted windows.
See?
Rambo's like, Bobby didn't tell me he got a new car.
That's Rambo. That's not his car.
He's for sure getting into like the passenger side too.
Having you got a friend with a cool new car.
And Scent just says flatly, "Is he in witness protection?"
Do you have witness protection?
Rambo's like, I just witnessed him, so I don't think so.
I would like to get like, is it possible for us to like just get the number of the plate at all from this angle, like when Ez drives away? Maybe is it because it does a U-turn and we see it for 3 seconds?
If you wanted to try to get the plate, you'd probably have to either try to make yourself inconspicuous from the very big open window, or you'd have to go outside. So you can roll whatever you want and tell me how you would try to get the number by being quiet.
Okay, then I'm going to use my charm. Just kidding.
If you can make it work, you can make it work.
I can't though. I have a D4, so I don't know. This sounds difficult. I think what Frances is gonna do is she's gonna like try and clean the windows and look from inside, just to make it look like she's trying to make something clean, but just sort of look so she doesn't have her back turned, so she does from the inside. And I'm gonna use my brains for that, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Is this a D20? Okay, what do we predict this is gonna be? The first roll I ever did for us was a 3.
Out of a D20, a 12.
It's an 11 with my modifier.
Awesome. So, yep, no issues. The windows are tinted, so you couldn't really see if they noticed you, but the way that you're operating looks, normal. Of course you'd clean the windows. And it's the Harvest Festival, so you'd probably be making extra steps to make sure that everything looks in tip-top shape.
Good.
So
we mark it.
You're obviously not the only people who work there, and so other like teens and members of the community are working as it starts to become a little bit busier. Folks are coming to town, and the sun is not too far off from setting.
Should we go ahead? I want other people to speak, so it's not just me thinking about Bobby the whole time.
No, that's okay. So, also as you are chit-chatting, the door opens and you see a young woman. Well, she's still a teen, but older than we last saw her, in a black shift dress and her hair in 2 braids. The braids are much longer, and she sort of walks in a way that makes you think that she's gliding. And she has pamphlets that she hands to all of you. Dearest friends, I know you've heard of the astronomical phenomenon that's visited Lunar Lake, and I'd hope that you would join me to view such an event through the telescope. It's Lilith, and she's got little earrings that are moons and stars.
Rambo's kind of like noisily slurping on her hot. She's double fisting a croissant and now her hot cocoa, and she's like, and then looking at the paper and looking at Lily like, what kind of telescope you got?
Wakanda.
It's from the laboratory of the high school.
Neat.
And I think that Scent is still like watching and just eating a steady stream of crunchy cookies with just a very flat expression.
Francis just tells Lilith that if we want, we could put one of the flyers up on the window and then she can pass them out, because I'm pretty sure we have a good relationship with Lilith from what I remember.
You do, yeah.
So I'll take one of the flyers too.
Awesome. And she sets one beside Scarlet, though Scarlet doesn't look up to acknowledge her. And she leaves you a small stack of them, and when she leaves, she gets into the sidecar of a bicycle pedaled by Mr. Peckish. Mr. Peckish took it upon himself to fight on her behalf, as she did not want to leave Lunar Lake upon the death of her parents. Her brother lives in Shadowbrook with family, but she really didn't want to leave the town that she called home.
Aww.
And so Mr. McMurphy, Scent's father, helped Mr. Peckish adopt Lilith. And so she lives with him and Mr. Peckish's older daughter, Matilda, who has moved in with them to help. So they're often seen around town together. Mr. Peckish is relocated. He's not far from the cemetery, and Lilith has been doing events on the weekends, picnics, and cemetery walks for the town. She's really flourished in the time that she's been living with him.
Entrepreneurial. When the kids see Mr. Peckish, can they all like jointly like go and run outside to see?
Yeah,
I would like
absolutely.
that. I would like that.
Yeah.
Everyone just drops all their shit everywhere and just run. Crumbs flying.
Are you trying to get his attention, or stopping him from paddling away, or
just to say like hi to Mr. Peckish, because he's like, this is the Mr. Peckish simulator game. We just
yeah.
him all the time.
He'll ring the bell on his bicycle. Oh, hi, children! It's so good to see you.
Oh, he's like Santa.
Yeah.
Santa?
He looks jovial as ever, albeit a little bit more tired. Will Lilith and I see you at the astronomy event this evening, as she likes to say?
Would we have time to do both, Wethels? Would we have time to do the festival?
Do whatever you want.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, I would say that we would be there.
We'll say,
I'm so
I've seen
glad
stars
to hear.
before, but I'll tag along.
And you would have the event's been the event's run by Mr. Birch, who is somebody that you have a really close relationship with, so you've for sure been out with him before using the telescope, so this is nothing new or special to you. Although Mr. Peckish will remark, I'm looking forward to it on behalf of my sweet Lilith, and he'll pat her on the head, even though she's like 17. And but I just think it's real weird that you can see the stars during the daytime. That's just not natural. And he'll look up at the sky, and if you follow his gaze, you'll notice that many stars are visible, even though it is still the daytime. And the three of you notice that there's an eerie green glow to them.
Oh.
Rambo
Green?
is like chewing mindlessly, looking up at the sky, and Melvin has jumped down and into Mr. Peckish's lap and spat the last corner of his croissant into his lap as like a gift, and then gone back to Rambo. And Rambo's like, "Why do stars get like that?"
Mr. Peckish will, like, without a beat, pick up the piece of the croissant and eat it.
This is the level of not caring I hope to reach as an old person.
Francis, you really knock it out of the park with these pastries.
Thank you.
Pastries.
I can get you. And then Francis goes back and real quick and like gets a little bag of things ready for him to take home. Because that's something she would do regularly. When anytime he would stop by, he would always walk away with some pastries.
He will put them in his little basket, and all right, kids, well, we have to get going, but we'll see you tonight. And he'll give you a little salute and ring the bell and start pedaling away.
Vincent will immediately go. Like, did not.
And Rambo is like waving, flailing armedly.
Lilith is looking back at you over her shoulders, just this like tiny goth in a sidecar of a bicycle, and like.
Aww.
Oh,
That's cute.
a tiny
Yeah.
goth in the sidecar. This sounds like a emo band.
Tiny goth in a sidecar, yeah. I love that.
What is Scarlet doing?
Scarlet is stressing. She hasn't joined you. She's sort of got her head in her hands and she's poring over paperwork.
Can I check on her?
Yeah.
Like basically just want to ask her if everything's okay. Like, is there anything I can do? That sort of thing.
She'll sort of sigh into her hands and scoot over to make room for you to sit next to her.
I sit.
I'm just, I haven't seen my family in like a long time or whatever. It's just been me and then you, and I'm just scared. What if you don't like my family?
Well, why wouldn't I like them? I like you. So I don't see why they would be any different.
I mean, she's almost exactly like me, but I'm just nervous. And I don't like feeling scared or whatever. It's lame.
Is there anything I need to know about her? Like, that's making you feel this way? Because then maybe I can look out for it and I can, do something about whatever's bugging you.
No, that's okay. It's, you know how like I've had dinner with your family?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you're gonna have dinner with my family. And then what happens?
I would hope that they would be fine, that your cousin would be fine with it. So, and if she's not, and there's just a little something in Francis that is really annoyed by that, so you can hear one of the coffee machines going brrr.
Like burping behind you.
Scarlet will sigh and just put her head on your shoulder.
And Francis is gonna like awkwardly like stroke her hair.
Yeah. And you like move it in such a way that it like falls over her face and it's just like
In her mouth.
Yeah.
Rambo is seeing this and thinking like there's nothing awkward about this interaction at all, and she's like looking at Sen and going like, like you see this.
Not only that, but like most of the townsfolk are also sort of staring at you guys.
I think when Frances is around Scarlet, she's in her own little world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not in judgment, but everybody's just sort of like, young
Observing.
love.
Mm-hmm.
Just Scarlet has hair, her own hair in her mouth, like
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Scarlet will pack up her things into her bag and look to you as though like, all right, I need a break and let's hang out, let's do stuff.
Okay.
So
Well,
she's gonna join you on wherever you
Okay.
guys want to go.
good, because I was gonna ask her to anyway.
Go ahead.
I would like people that aren't me to choose what we do because I could do this all day, and I want people to
Mhm.
also have opinions.
So we have an hour left.
Okay. Should we take a break?
Is that? Well, I was asking. Is that true? Like,
Yeah.
we should wrap around 4. Okay.
About an hour, so we can go a little bit over.
Okay. Yeah. Well, why don't I list what is possible for you to do?
Okay.
And then
Mhm.
we can take a little break and then come back.
Okay.
And then you can decide.
All right.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
So, you can visit any NPCs that you want to visit. You can visit any location in town that you want to visit. In terms of like non-directive things, mysteries. Sent has something he hasn't told the group. There's tailing Bobby or trying to figure out what Bobby's up to. Collecting Scarlet's cousin from a bus stop or wherever. Rambo is also meeting Amber. And so
Okay.
you can all go do those things. And then there are things you can do after that, and then we can wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sounds good. Okay, we can decide while we're on our break. We're gonna be 10 minutes. So
Okay.
just everyone watch my BRB screen for 10 minutes and then we will discuss after we all we're all gonna go do a pee break together. So
Perfect.
yay. All right, everyone, we're
Yeah.
gonna go hold hands and pee. All right. Okay, see you in a sec, everyone. Haha. Was muted. I think we're back now.
But we're back.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
Yes, she's
Okay.
back.
You have to say the rest.
I was waiting for somebody else to chime in.
Sorry.
Back a girl.
There you go.
I'll say it like Nickelback. Back a girl.
Back again, me high.
Creed.
Bring me
Creed, yeah.
back.
You know what?
all the same.
honestly,
Guess
same
who's
flavor.
back a
Yeah, same
girl?
flavor.
Yeah, I have
Same
a
flavor.
playlist on Spotify called Yeah, and it starts with 3 H's, and it has stuff like that. Yeah. So you're right.
Can
it's the
you hear?
same- Yeah. Can you hear?
It's happening. We're doing it.
Okay.
Okay. So, time sensitive. Rambo has an appointment with Amber from Pick of the Litter. This is the first time someone from Shadowbrook has come to chat with her. And being the manager, it's something that Rambo can't skip. Where do you think you would have organized a meeting with Amber in town?
The cafe.
Okay.
Francis is cleaning the counters, getting things ready.
All right. So back in the cafe after
Easy enough.
Mr. Peckish leaves. Scarlet has packed her things away and is just sort of sitting at the counter, admiring Francis cleaning the already very clean counter.
Rambo
and
has
then-
cleaned all the crumbs off of her and kind of like straightened her hair back up and cleaned Melvin off.
Melvin, every time you clean him, he somehow finds more crumbs to collect
Oh.
onto his fur.
So,
Oh.
Francis just says to Rambo, if you want, Zero's upstairs. Zero is the black cat that Francis found in the last episode. And
Mhm.
says if you want, Melvin can go play with Zero.
Rambo kind of like holds on to Melvin on her shoulder and is like, I just want him here for this. I feel like he should be here for this, you know?
Okay.
Oh, thank God. I really didn't want to meet that other cat.
Rambo kind of like puts her hand over the entirety of Melvin's face to tell him to like stop talking.
No one else, just to reiterate, nobody else can hear Melvin but you. So
Yeah.
other people hear like, okay. So Rambo finds herself. You can have Zero like around you if you want. Like he.
Yeah, Zero would be around.
Yeah. So like I would say Zero's probably just padding around the cafe,
Marking
and every so
everything
often,
with his face.
Yeah, marking everything with his face, and then like every so often I'll let you play Zero, so you tell me what Zero's doing. But Melvin will like catch Zero's eye, and it's always like whenever they're doing, their bodies just tense and they make eye contact.
Yeah, Zero will like, since he can't talk, he just sort of like does the thing where the cat's like back goes like straight up and like walks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Turns into an elbow macaroni.
Yeah. And Melvin's claws sort of like dig into your shoulder. The cats that you work with at the shelter are, like they're older, they're more sickly, they're more docile, but Melvin regards Zero as more like a competitor.
Mm.
Be good. that's what I would say to Albus. Be good.
Yeah.
That's kind of what Rambo's trying to get across with the like face holding shush.
Yeah.
Stop.
Because if you let go, he'd be slinging expletives.
Yes.
Yeah. Swearing and cat. And so as you guys are sort of messing around with the cats, in walks a well-dressed woman in a sort of like pantsuit in a pastel pink. Her hair is bleach blonde.
Triple bleach.
She looks very different from when you saw her last. She looks like she may have had some work done. She's wearing a significant amount of makeup. And when she steps over to you, Rambo, and smiles, she has more teeth in a mouth than you've ever seen. It's horrifying. They are blinding white, and her smile is so wide, it's like uncanny valley. And somehow her eyes remain wide open and unchanged.
Can I say that Francis was bringing over pastries and just went like she like put the stuff down?
Yeah, and like I would say like one of them falls near Zero, like
put a croissant in your mouth and it takes up the whole thing.
Rambo's kind of like staring, and she's not good at hiding her like facial expressions really well, so she's like got this gnarled look trying to process that this is Amber, and then she like wipes her sweaty hand and is like, hi Amber. Hi Amber.
Rambo, it's so lovely to see you. Oh no, thank you. And she doesn't touch your hand. She'll slide in. She'll slide into the booth and open a folder with some documents. As you know, the president is very interested in your, let's say, abilities in running the shelter. And, well, I think it's finally time. He wants to meet you. Isn't that so exciting?
Rambo's like, has he told you what his abilities are? Because I'm still looking for them, and I'm still not quite sure what he's seeing.
She'll sort of like glance over at Melvin, and you'll see that her expression changes a little bit when she's looking at him. And then when she looks at you, the uncanny valley smile returns. Well, you're just so great with the animals that we send to you, and we thank you so much for all of your help. And you've just, you've got the magic touch. And her teeth, like, somehow, like, her smile gets whiter and whiter as she's talking to you.
And Rambo's kind of like, as she's talking, like she's hearing what she's saying, but she's not really processing it. And she's kind of just like constantly just like looking up and down and just kind of like taking in everything visually about Amber. And Rambo's like, are you sure you're okay? Like everything's good?
Oh my god, I'm never better. New and improved.
Mhm.
Rambo's like, so what new routine? New boyfriend?
New everything. And if you like what you see, some of that can be yours if you continue to do as well as you've been doing.
Rambo's like, no, I think she's kind of like looking at her like dirty, ratty outfit. She's like, no, I think this is good. I'm good. But thanks.
You look
Are you
like
saying
have too
you
many
don't
parts.
want to meet the president?
Rambo's like, I'm not even sure the president is a real person at this point. I've only ever gotten emails from him/her.
Her eyes darken and her expression changes to something more serious and severe. Oh, he's very real. And he really wants to meet you. Of course, you'll have to come to Shadowbrook for that, and I know that's quite far for folks from Lunar Lake. And her cheer sort of returns.
Rambo kind of like nervously, instead of like grabbing a treat from the plate that Francis brought us, she has like death gripped a pastry and has brought it to her mouth, but she's not eating it. And she's like, that sounds really nice. We'll put a pin in it. Nothing. No.
I imagine the camera pans to the pastry and it's like a jelly donut, so just oozes of red jelly are like seeping between her fingers and like and plopping quietly onto the plate, like.
Yeah.
God.
Well, we can put a pin in it, but hopefully it'll be a short pin because, well, the president's quite busy and he's made some time for you, and well, I would hope you would honor everything that he's done for you and come and visit us very soon. We'll be in contact. And she'll close the manila envelope, having not looked at the document she brought, and she will stand up and smile at you, and her smile will fade as she looks to Melvin, and she'll adjust her clothing and exit the
Would it be weird? Would it be weird for me to bump into her and then the folder falls on the floor and then Rambo steals it?
Do you want to try that?
Or like Scent just standing like
at the door,
blatantly in the way in front of.
If you guys want to try to orchestrate stealing,
I would really like to get this envelope for Rambo because I feel like I'm hearing all of this and it's weird.
Okay.
So
tell me how you are all going to orchestrate her dropping the envelope and not caring enough to pick it back up before she leaves.
Francis is gonna, on the way out, if it's okay with everyone, I think what she wants to do is like, she noticed that she didn't want to touch Rambo. So I feel like maybe if Francis is like just bringing a tray of pastries to her, well, you haven't tried these yet. Are you sure you want to leave? And just basically be like as insufferable as possible. And maybe it'll distract her enough to like, if Seth bumps into her while he's blocking the doors, maybe she'll drop it and then Rambo can scramble or Melvin can grab it or something.
Yeah.
How do we feel about this?
He's just holding the cell phone and like pretending to type like.
I'm not sure Melvin's gonna be able to do it inconspicuously because she seems kind of preoccupied with him for whatever reason.
Okay. Well, I wish Zero could speak because then I could make Zero like go like just like.
Oh. I said Zero can't speak, but that doesn't mean that you can't utilize him.
Because Rambo can talk to creatures. Like it does. Is that a general thing?
Rambo and Melvin can communicate with Zero.
If we all communicated via look to each other, the three of us, would we know the shenanigans we're about to do?
I think at this
I
point.
think-
So?
I think
Okay.
so.
I feel like we've known each other long enough to know that means grab the thing. This is
Right.
suspicious. Okay. So
We've probably
feel...
been eyeing each other the whole time this has been going on.
So
by
tell
the
me
way.
what dice you're rolling, and then tell me what everybody is doing.
Okay, I'm gonna be insufferable, which is really strange for Frances. She only knows how to be awkward and quiet. So
Okay.
it's gonna be really strange. I feel like, do we feel like brains or grit is better for this? My brains is higher, but I just want to know what we feel like is
I
better.
would say probably grit, given
Okay.
that you're doing something that's out of character.
Okay.
And so
Mm,
Ooh, let me see. Ooh, and then
Can I
Yeah,
front
plus
load it with an
2.
adversity token?
we have 2 adversity tokens as well.
yeah, I would say this maybe should count as a snap decision because it's
Mhm.
happening
Okay.
fast.
All right.
If I have a small shenanigan, I have protective. Francis is feeling really protective over Rambo and wants to get this
Yeah.
done. Could I add my protective to this roll as well?
Absolutely.
Okay, sounds good.
All
And
right, Francis.
and then do we need everyone to roll, or do I need to roll first?
I just need everybody to tell me like how this is unfolding. So Francis is going to distract her.
Mm-hmm.
I think Scent
I
is just going to
guess-
be in the way. Oh, go ahead.
And Rambo is kind of like telling Melvin like, hey, get Schmooze Zero into helping us with this. Like, I know you don't like him, but be nice, be good.
Okay.
Oh, fine. And so Melvin will take a pastry from the table too on it with him. So he's just sort of patting over to Zero with a croissant.
Okay, I'm gonna roll now.
Pizza offering.
Okay.
Okay.
Boy.
Ooh, 13.
Okay.
Like it.
I hope that's good.
So you approach Amber as she's walking out the door with a tray of like, I would say, sticky, jelly, saucy pastries.
All the really messy stuff.
The
And then
messy
I've got a
stuff,
bottle. I've got a bottle of frosting and like squeezing it on top of them. Like, this is really good if you put all of this
Do
on
that.
there. If you do that.
Oh,
Hey, look at this.
well, thanks. I'm not and she's like sort of like stuttering and putting her hands up and trying to like back away from the sticky tray of sweets. Rambo, I want you to make the roll on Melvin's behalf. So whatever you think he would be using to chat with Zero.
Oh, charm for sure, which is like
Okay.
the best.
Mm.
10.
Okay. So Melvin's grand idea is to bite the shit out of Zero's tail, and Zero and jumps onto the counter and running towards Francis, his human, leaps onto the tray. Francis squirts the icing into Amber's face. The pastries are flying everywhere. They're all over her pantsuit. She sort of rears back, and out from the manila envelope falls the documents. She's still holding the envelope, but the documents fall to the ground.
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
Vincenzo, what are you doing?
Well, initially I was gonna think of him as like doing a brawn check of just like not being movable. Like she'd hit him and then it would make her off kilter. But obviously she's already going through it,
Yeah.
and so I think that he would do. Mm, I would say a brainy maneuver of like attempting to sweep up really quick and like snatch the paper up. He's distracted and like just stuff it under the cushion of the nearest booth
And
that
then-
no one's
Okay.
sitting in.
And then if you're successful, I would like to just continuously come at her with this thing and just say like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And like make
You've
sure she's
already
like
blinded
walking
her.
out.
You want some more? You
You
look
want-
like
I
you're
was like,
enjoying
"Are
it.
you sure?"
Okay. Did you roll?
So this is a brainy.
Until-
so this
until
is going to be a
Okay.
Yeah.
D20 plus 2.
Yeah.
So-
Mom brain.
come on, big brains. Okay, a 14 plus 2, a 16.
Wow. Okay. So awesome. So you're able to snatch the documents without her noticing. She is just She at some point becomes so flustered that she hits the tray back at you, Francis, and just runs out the door.
Okay, as she's running out the door,
Yes.
Francis is gonna stop the stuff from going all over her with her magic.
Okay.
She was like,
Wait,
goopy
can she
Gumby
do
with all
that? I don't think
stuff
she
on it.
can. Never mind.
She can't.
She's got wiry electronic powers. She doesn't have
Yeah,
stop things in the air.
Powers.
no, but I would say like you having been working there for a long time, you're sort of able to coordinate yourself such that it doesn't get on you.
no.
There is one customer that's sitting in the booth watching this happen and eating a burger, and the patty just like slowly slides out from the bun as they're just holding the burger.
This
I'll be right
people
with you.
always have a lot to watch with our group.
Scarlet jumps right in and helps clean up with you. And Rambo can only pretty much stop Melvin from licking the icing off of every surface.
Mm.
Rambo has like scooped Melvin up, and he's like all four limbs outstretched, paws extended, trying to grab more.
Yes.
And Scent like leans toward the big window and like watches her storm off, and she's got like glops falling off of her as she's going to wherever she's going. Can he like
She
pull the
gets-
paper out?
She gets
go
into
ahead.
a hot pink convertible
Naturally.
and drives away, speeds off.
I'm not a new witch.
Well, it's after seeing that she's left, he goes and just like tries not to make a bigger production in case the document is something that would attract other people's attention, but he like slides his hand underneath the cushion and like very quickly shuttles it into his jacket and kind of goes
Okay.
back behind the counter.
The customer that's eating the burger just leaves payment and a tip, as they normally would, and leaves their uneaten burger on
Thanks,
the plate.
Jim.
And
Thanks, Jim.
Jim.
Thanks, Jim. Francis's voice is uncharacteristically very high for some reason.
Yeah. So GM leaves
GM.
the
GM.
cafe, sort of like pulling his hat over his head and walking quickly out the door.
Okay.
Jim's a regular. You don't have to worry about him coming back or being upset. But
Yeah.
he's just like, I should leave these guys to themselves.
Right.
And you have the cafe.
Rainbow's kind of looking at the two of them, and she's like, that was Amber, but like that wasn't Amber.
Mm.
Francis is gonna lock the front door and put a closed sign up. No one else is coming in.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then Rambo kind of walks over to Scent and is like, what was that fell out of the envelope?
So he kind of gingerly takes the piece of paper out and it's like, we probably should do this in the office, and just sort of walks holding it like this, like there's something toxic about it. He's just walking with it in front of him and opens the office door and just like puts it on the desk and sort of backs away and lets everybody else come closer.
As you go to set the documents on the desk, you will notice that there is a map of the library and a flashlight on top of the desk. Sort of like blueprint schematics of the library.
Francis is gonna call Scarlett's attention and point this out to her as well. While this is
Scarlet will
going
pick them. Scarlet will pick up the blueprints, and she will like refold them in such a way that like obviously she was the first person to fold them and put them away. Like, he took these. These are mine.
Bobby?
This is from my desk.
Oh.
I assume it was Bobby. It wasn't you.
No. That's...
This is from my desk.
What would he need the
I know
blueprints
because
for?
I folded these to keep them inside of one of my copies of Dracula.
So he would have had to really dig for this.
Hmm.
Do we notice, as people not in the library all the time, do we notice anything weird about the blueprint? Like something that doesn't seem like it would be there normally? Or
Bobby is sweet, but Bobby is not cunning. And so the third floor is circled in like red marker.
Well, what's on the...
And you remember that that's where Bernice's office was.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Can I just say I thought for sure you were not going to go into the office.
something told me we always
Like, they're not going to go into the
avoid
fucking
like every time. Hey, we finally got it after the
We
sixth
didn't
time of
ride our
playing.
bikes the first episode of Kids on Bikes.
Kids on carriages.
Kids on carriages, kids on walking.
On foot.
It's on walking.
Yeah.
Kids on feet.
So, yeah, we
Who's that at?
did it, everyone. We did it.
You did it.
We won the
You
game.
did it.
We
You
follow
won the
context
game.
clues.
All right, Rambo's like, I didn't think Bobby was really into books. I'm not sure why he's been going to the library and stealing.
Yeah, this is my aunt's. He's circling my aunt's office. So,
There's nothing in there. Mr. McMurphy cleared all of that stuff out. Those offices are completely empty.
And my dad's a pretty thorough guy. He'll just say trail off.
Your dad is extremely thorough. Such that he has moved his physical office into the police station.
Mm-hmm. So something to get away from there.
if Bobby has been going to the police station a lot, Bernice's office is empty, but he's got it circled. And since Dad now works out of the precinct,
Mm-hmm.
what if we read this paper and maybe we saw something that said something else?
Or
So-
another paper.
So if you take a look at the documents, they sound like a contract for employment, just like I, Rambo, blah, 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 agreed to work under blah, blah, blah. But as you continue to read, the words sort of start to devolve into symbols and appear like gibberish. But Scarlet recognizes some of the symbols as ones that you've seen before on the
Oh.
necklaces and the idol of
Mm-hmm.
Lou Shodov.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Rambo's kind of like waving it at Scarlet, like, "Can you read this? Do you know what this says?" She's like, "I flunked English. Please help."
There aren't dictionaries for old god language in the library. I don't know what this says either. Maybe
Well, and I
Raven
think-
will know more about it.
Hmm. Well,
Rambo's
and I
kinda,
think
like,
at that point,
and she's turning it different directions and like putting it close to her face and like away from her
Seeing
face.
if you could see a picture in the symbols, like those 3D
Yeah, she's
looking
like
things.
determined to figure something out. She's
With
like,
cereal
"Why would
boxes.
they write a contract in this? I can't even read it."
Amber was probably hoping you wouldn't read most of it, that you'd start to read it and then just sign it. She obviously thinks you're dumber than you are.
Hmm.
I don't think you're dumb. I didn't mean that. I don't think you're dumb. I think you're nice.
All of that, the possibility of it being an insult just goes completely over Rambo's head. He's like, "Oh, thank you."
And she'll sort of scowl at like the idea that she's giving somebody care and a compliment, and she'll just sort of like,
Francis is just gonna like
Recoil.
rub the back of her arm. Just
Well, and
like
I think at this
lightly.
point, Scent pulls the thing out of his pocket, the kind of crumpled note with the address on it. It's like, not to add further mystery, but I received this today in a sealed envelope with a wax seal with a deer head on it. So, and he just kind of like
Yeah.
drops it.
Rambo snatches it out of the air and is doing the same thing with the letter now, trying
we-
to figure something out, even though
Francis-
she knows she's not going to.
Francis says, can
Holding
we?
it up to the
Rambo, could
light.
you please roll a brains?
Oh no! My brains is a D10 plus 1.
That's not bad.
Roll your brains.
6.
Okay. You notice that they both smell similarly. Like a very
Rambo-
strong perfume.
Rambo's now taking them both and going. And then she's holding them out to Melvin, and she's like, "Do these smell the same to you?" And now she's doing it to everybody else. Do you smell? Are you smelling this?
Melvin will like cat yak, like.
Oh no!
It smells like Mrs. Teeth.
Mrs. T.
Mrs. M, Mrs. I, Mrs. SSI.
Mrs. C. Mrs.
So they
C.
both,
Mrs.
they both
LCY.
smell like.
Why
they
are all
both
these
smell
women
like
married?
amber.
Sorry. I had to finish that. Sorry.
So is the text on the letter that Sent got, is it written? Like, could we
Yeah,
notice that the handwriting was the same if there was handwriting on both documents?
The document that you received is typed. His is handwritten, but they both smell like her perfume.
All right.
And Sent recognizes
Looks
it
like
as
they both-
Little Sexy, the perfume his grandmother.
Number
wears.
9.
Did you say that his grandmother's perfume is called Little Sex?
Mine is.
Look, back in her day, she was a little sexy. All right.
She's big sexy teeth now.
Oh my god.
Big sexy teeth. Oh, it's
so
an
they're like,
actual
they smell the
perfume.
same.
A
It
little
is.
sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it smells like a little sexy.
Hmm.
All right.
Smells
That
like
is to
sexy
say,
little-
musky and
Musky teeth.
overpowering.
Rambo kind of like dejectedly is like, Amber never sent me handwritten letters.
Oh.
Like she's
Yeah, she
missing
came
the
in
whole
person.
nefarious
What
point
is-
of this, and she's just kind of bummed.
Do we know what the letter
Aw.
says? Have we tried reading it? Are we just being silly?
It's just the address, right?
It's just an address
Oh, okay.
in Shadowbrook.
Okay, so the sealed envelope had an address in it. Okay, that's pointing us to Shadowbrook. Okay, okay. So maybe we'll save Shadowbrook for another time, possibly.
We got some other peoples to meet.
Right. So, what's
So
next?
at this point, you could go to the library. You could go to the police station. You could check out the festival, which is sort of like happening in the background,
Mhm.
and the astronomical event.
What do you all want to do? In my mind, I'm thinking astronomical, but also the library, because we've got a clue for what's going on with Bobby. I don't know if there's anything else we can do currently at the festival that sounds like we know what we're doing there. So maybe instead of adding another thing to our list, we follow the clues for once.
Yeah. I say
Um,
we go to the astrological.
Yeah, because we can run into the people that we want to
Okay.
see on the way. Like Scarlett's cousin could like be run into, right? In this
Here.
process.
Like an apparition.
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. So you
And
guys are
Lee.
gonna make your way to the lake area.
We're gonna ride our bikes.
Okay.
Can we ride a pumpkin
So-
carriage? Just kidding.
At the festival. So you get on all of your bikes. Scarlett rides behind Francis. As you are pedaling, Rambo, you notice in the woods as you pass them, it sort of looks like something is keeping pace with you. But the lights have gone out. It is completely dark at this point. And you can't quite make out its shape, but it's keeping up with you guys riding your bike.
Can she kind of like Melvin is like latched onto her back? Can she kind of like, hey Melv, you see that? So she's not looking at whatever it is, but she asked Melvin to like see if he can take a peek because he's a cat. And
Melvin hops off of your shoulders and runs toward it.
No, Melvin, discreetly.
They've sort of like disappeared into the woods. You can't quite see them.
No, Melvin, no. Melvin.
You can sort of hear like the rustling. It looks like they're still like kind of like keeping pace with you.
Okay.
So if you were to ask Melvin, like, is he coming, like, running alongside us? Like, do you think he could hear you? I'm only asking because I wonder if we keep moving or if we follow Melvin.
I think Rambo would trust that Melvin knows what he's doing if he's just gonna like leave.
Okay.
I feel okay about Melvin leaving.
Okay.
Okay.
Apparently.
All right. As you are about to get to the lake, Melvin rejoins you, covered in like burrs and leaves and stuff, and he's really out of breath. He's like, "I lost him, kid."
And Mel's like, "Who's them? Who?"
Yet another mystery.
I don't know, some dude in a cape. It's Halloween.
Some dude in a cape.
Rambo's like, "Cape? What kind of?
Lashudo.
That's all you got was a cape?"
Melvin's like rummaging into your backpack and he pulls out a croissant you definitely didn't put there.
Rambo's like, so who was running?
You see
A
my
man
croissant?
in a cape was running?
I don't know, kid. Then he's just bunching away on the croissant like it's no big deal.
Rambo is now frustrated and like snatches the croissant and starts eating it herself. She's like, "You've had too many croissants this evening."
He's had like 4. He's only a little cat. And he's crunchy
He's
and old.
swollen.
He's looking really round.
Yeah. He hisses at you. You see several of the townsfolk, including Mr. Peckish, Mr. Peckish's daughter Matilda, Lilith, Mr. Birch, and other townsfolk sort of taking turns, oohing and eyeing. Lilith seems anxious. She hasn't gotten a turn yet. And she waves over at you guys, and yeah, so there you are.
Do we...
Can Scent send
Okay.
Leah a quick text and just be like, "Hey, we're doing this star thing. If you want to do a star thing, this is where it is." And that's it.
And that
He's gonna
text
send-
costs $2.
Yes.
And he'll just send
In
back.
roaming.
He just sends back K.
That fits.
Oh my gosh.
And also can Scent like go up to Mr. Birch. They have like a very, because of how Scent is, very formal relationship in terms of
Mhm.
how they talk to each other. And so Scent's like, and like shakes very
He returns like
Formal
your very
business.
rigor mortis handshake.
Rigor
Just
Morris.
Who's Morris?
And asks for your help in setting up some of the telescopes. And yeah, what are you guys doing?
using my D20 brains to help Mr. Birch.
What'd you get?
Oh. I wasn't really gonna roll,
That's
but
it, but I didn't mean it.
what is that? Oh, a 12. A 12
Um,
plus a 12 plus whatever.
What are
the-
numbers? I've never seen them before.
I don't know.
No, that's
14
fair.
total.
Mine have like funky symbols on them, so sometimes it's hard to tell. So you got 14 total.
I can't see through all my curls. Yeah.
You notice that the stars maintain that same like sickening pallid green glow.
Ew.
Okay, I don't want to veer off. I said because I had a thought, but I would rather continue.
Okay.
If you wanna.
Yeah. So you
Mhm.
just notice that the stars look weird.
I think that
Lilith
he.
seems very anxious to look into the telescope.
So I think that Scent just goes, like he's on a on staff at Disney World, like telling people to move up in line and like go
Okay.
and be directed. But he also pulls Mr. Birch aside and is like, I'm a little freaked out. And he just kind of like points up and waits for Mr. Birch to like comment on anything.
Mr. Birch will put a reassuring hand on your shoulder. Oh, I know it's been a long time since we've done this together, but I think you know what you're doing. And he just sort of like gestures to the telescopes as you're setting them up. He doesn't seem to quite understand what you're saying.
Sense like kind of grabs his shoulders very slowly and says, "No, up." And like looks at the green glowing stars, and he's like, doesn't even really have words to try to like explain what he's feeling.
He looks up at the sky and looks back at you and is sort of like, yes, there are stars and they're quite bright. Has the city, have you turned into a city dweller? Do you forget what it's like to live out here in the country?
And Sent kind of just like holds his head, like thinking, do I have a concussion? And then just sort of like walks away and sits down in one of like the chairs nearby.
Do I have a concussion? Is what he thinks about himself. There would be no point where he'd hit his head at all today. I love that.
Survivalist brain, right? And is not even processing like whether he could ask anyone else to, hey, do they see that? Or he's just watching Lilith look at the telescope and like waiting for her to turn back around and show any signs that she sees anything weird.
So Lilith starts to look into the telescope, and Scent, your eyes go milky white, and you see what she sees. So first you see like that sickening green glow, and it pulls you in, and your vision changes to the heart of an ancient forest, shrouded in thick mist, the weight of forgotten whispers, and stands before you an impossibly large figure. Towering over gnarled trees, its antlers twist skyward like branches, casting shadows that dance and writhe. Its flesh is mottled with patches of moss lichen and is a ghastly gray. Its eyes are deep and hollow and gleam with an unsettling intelligence. Its knowing reveals your fears and your regrets, mixed in with Lilith's. You see her standing alone in a field with no one and feeling afraid of being alone. And you couldn't avert your gaze if your survival depended on it. Something tells you it wouldn't matter anyway. The wind rustles through the leaves and a low and mournful sound echoes from the god's throat. A haunting call that sends shivers through the air, a reminder of the ancient power it wields. The scent of decay hangs heavy as you realize everyone you have ever known and ever loved is entangled in the branches of its antlers. And Lilith slumps to the ground and passes out, and so does Scent.
Oh,
So
crap.
Scent, you are currently incapacitated.
Jeez.
You just said, dude, I have a concussion, and you faint?
Right.
And so everybody around you
He did
sort of
just say that out loud, too.
The Matilda comes and scoops up Lilith. Mr. Birch starts tending to Scent. They call for an ambulance.
I picture Sense being like slightly comical, where he's just sitting in one of those like foldy lawn chairs, but he like slowly falls back and his feet are just like in the air.
Absolutely. And at the same time, Lee arrives and sees that Scent isn't completely unconscious and runs right to him.
Would we know Lee?
No.
Okay.
You'd probably recognize him because I imagine that Scent would talk about his roommate, and so you'd recognize the clothes as like, okay, this is probably Scent's roommate. And he immediately starts like splashing water on his face and like sort of like slapping him as though he has seen Scent in this state before.
Ooh.
Interesting.
That is interesting. God, I got chills. Ooh.
Right.
Rambo is like frantically looking around to see if Mr. Peckish has seen any of this, because she knows he's going to be worried about Lilith.
Yeah, he's like knelt by her and Matilda as they're sort of like tending to her. Both of you sort of like lull back into consciousness. And both of you are given like water and blankets as EMS comes and sort of gives you a look over. Maybe like an hour's passed. It's about 8 p.m. at this point. Francis and Rambo, you can tell me what you'd be doing during this time, but folks would be like clearing out, packing up, getting Lilith home so she can rest. But you're basically cleared to go. And Lee has been with you the whole time.
Are all the telescopes have been packed away?
No, they've actually been left behind.
Can Rambo take a look in the telescope?
The one that just made people pass out?
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it.
Okay.
We love
So
to be chaotic.
you see the same like green cast of light, but what happened to them doesn't happen to you.
Figure.
Oof.
All right.
So now in this field with telescopes is Rambo, Francis, Scarlet, Lee, and Scent.
Well, and I think Scent is just lying on someone's picnic blanket that they left behind or like provided for this experience. And he's coming to, and you know how like people will take flashlights and like check people's like pupils, are they like dilated or whatever, as part of triaging or whatever they do with EMS. But like he'll come to and there's like a bright light, so he's kind of like staring, and Lee's face is kind of hovering, and it's kind of got like ethereal glow, and it's kind of like 80s music montage just playing for like a split second, and he'll go, wow, and then like kind of jolt out of it and like go red head to toe and just like bolt upright sitting up, and then we'll just like ask, where's Lilith?
As you're doing that, as you're like coming into consciousness, Lee sort of like flashes before your eyes into something else briefly, and if you want to reveal the image, you can do that.
Me?
Gloria. Yes.
Well, it's like,
what? Dun, dun, dun.
You see a hooded figure in a mask with deer antlers, leering over you. And then, as you snap awake, it shifts back to Lee.
Done.
And the image is gone.
Rambo's kind of staring at the two of them interacting and like catches some sort of romantic something, and is now doing the same thing that she did to Scent over Francis and Scarlet, but she's doing it to Francis. It's like, I
think that like Scent is like standing up at warp speed and just like pacing around really rapidly and like holding his head and just like, did you see that? Did you also see that? Did I only see that?
Francis runs up to him and says, do you have a concussion? Are you okay?
Do you have a concussion? I have a concussion.
Oh.
And Rambo's like, what? See what? What are you talking about?
And he's just like jabbering, cannot even really form words. There was space, and there was moss, and there's green, and there was the antler, and Lilith, and was there, and but all like kind of monotone the way he talks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it back up for myself.
Sure.
God.
Space.
And by the way, Tori drew this for me and just
Looks
like
great.
completely nailed my vision of this antagonist. It's so good.
Claps
I love
for
it so
Tori.
Terrify us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you know that
Thank you
Tori's
so much,
talented.
Tori.
Tori's talented. I said Tori's I can't say.
Tari is the most tormented person I've ever met. Yes.
So
Oh,
We love
God.
tormented Tari.
Rambo's reaching for a
Tari.
backpack.
It's me,
She
Tari.
pulled out a granola bar and is snapping it like smelling salts under Scent's nose. Like,
Going.
snap out of it.
And it's just like he does stop pacing, and maybe you like just slide a little piece in his mouth that's just hanging open like this, but he doesn't bite it. It's just there.
Rambo just gently pushes it into his mouth like a.
But like
floppy
smelling
disk.
salts? Oh,
Like pushes the mouth like.
It's just a granola bar.
because
Lee,
wait, is it because that Scent was a Boy Scout that using a granola bar would be like smelling salts?
Lee is also with Rambo, trying to comfort Scent and to reassure him.
But so when he was coming to, Scent saw the antlered mask person split second where Lee was.
Yes.
And I think he would be like side-eyeing Lee, like very blatantly, like not like just and kind of backing away from both of them, and then just sort of sits down on the ground and is still staring off into space.
And Rambo, still not really knowing who Lee is, kind of looks at Lee. He's like, "It's my breath."
Lee will lean in to smell your breath. No, I don't think so. Your breath smells fine. I'm Lee, by the way.
Like-
It's nice to meet you.
And then
all.
she takes her non-breath huffing hand, and she's still trying to smell her own breath, but she goes to shake Lee's hand. And
Lee will shake your hand.
all right.
So I think we'll ask what Scent saw, because he's clearly upset. So I think Francis would want to know what's going on.
I think that Scent, rather than like try to speak, because every time he speaks it's like word vomit and nothing makes sense, and he's too frazzled and still kind of like coming to, but he takes a little stick and tries to draw like the outline of the figure that we just saw, and makes like a little mound and a head and the antlers, and then just sort of like sits there with the stick in his hand like.
And so as you're drawing this, Melvin is sort of like standing beside you guys, and all of his fur stands up, and he starts hissing and growling very lowly.
Mm.
And from the shadows, the figure emerges. And that's where we're going to end the episode.
Oh! Damn it!
Oh.
It was only question.
Well,
Yeah.
I
I need
guess
to
we might
move
just
my
have
wig
to
flaps,
come
I'm getting
back.
hot.
I guess
Might have to come back.
We might have
we
to
can
come
if
back.
You want to,
Yeah.
yeah.
We might have to come back.